guys, welcome to the Music Roundtable with our hosts Lyle,
Hello.
Clint,
Hello.
Kim, hi, and I'm Vicki, where we discuss our opinions and experiences of the music we love, or maybe not.
It's fine. I'm not talking.
So, we're back. We're continuing our conversation about Queen. We left off with the album News of the World and how We Are the Champions and We Will Rock You came out of that album. So we're just going to move on to the next album, which was released in November of 1978. And that was Jazz. So out of that album came the singles Bicycle Race, Fat Bottom Girls, which was released as a double A-side single.
Because you need a double A-side for Fat Bottom Girls. So sorry, that just came out of nowhere.
I was going to say, you've been waiting the whole time to say that, haven't you?
To say that, but I was just like, oh, that's so funny. No, I have other things to talk about with that. But
right?
Just that was really funny.
That is actually quite funny. I'm glad you said that.
But that's a great song, though.
It is a great song.
It is. I love those songs.
Like,
do we want to talk about it now?
Yes, let's talk about it now.
So my thought on that song, because you're saying, like, the notes in here are saying that it treated women not only as a sex object, but as objects, period. The first truly fascist rock band and absurdly dull and filled with dumb ideas and irritative posturing. Okay, you know what? No, F you.
Yeah.
This is great that there is a song that is talking about fat bottom girls, not just skinny girls or girls in magazines or girls that are just like that picturesque model, whatever. This is talking about real women who have bums, okay? They have bottoms. And they're not, I think they're looking at them in a good light and saying they make our stuff, right? Like
exactly. They make our world go round.
Yeah, they make the rock and roll go around.
Hell yeah,
That's
they
right.
do, because they're the ones dancing and their booty is out there dancing. So, like, I think actually I don't think it's a bad song.
It's an empowering song.
It is an empowering song.
Yeah. There's one other one that's great about that, too.
What's that?
I can't think of the name right now. It's not Queen, though. Yeah, it's The Pressure. Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns. Sir Mix-a-Lot. That's another song about fat bottom girls.
Baby Got Back.
Right? Baby Got Back,
That's
right?
the one, yeah.
So, I don't know. I do not I don't take it that way.
No,
I've
I never have
taken
either.
it
I was
as-
actually kind of shocked when I found that they criticized it in that way.
Well, because I think a lot of how to say this delicately,
fat bottom girls.
women of girth.
Wow. Okay. Women of girth.
Women,
Yeah.
thick women. It empowered them.
I thought you were going to say something bad, like why they didn't like it.
No. I'm saying like it. Like I'm agreeing with you. It's a great song.
Yeah.
It like you said. There's a song for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they can take that song. So Queen does a concert or someone performs the song, they can get up and dance and party and stuff like this because fuck yeah.
This is
sorry for the swearing.
No,
fuck yeah. We make the rock and world go
That's
around.
right.
Like,
hells yes.
We're out here, we're partying. We don't need to be no skinny bitches. And
That's right.
Well, it's funny. I didn't put it in the notes for some reason, but I had read that the band was actually quite disappointed that they weren't allowed to be at the shoot for the video for Fat Bottom Girls with all the girls on the bikes and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to see those fat bottom girls.
Exactly.
Clearly they
right?
like bums, okay?
Clearly.
They like big bums.
So, and another fun fact I came across is the bicycles in the video were rented.
Oh.
So when they went to return them to the bike shop actually made them buy all the seats because they had been used, quote, inappropriately.
I mean, that's fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
Hygienics and all that,
Right?
They could afford it anyway.
Yeah.
They could at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
you
thought
could
that
have
was quite
sold those
funny.
bike seats off for quite a mint to some sickos.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. You make a pretty penny off of that. But
Right?
yeah.
But yeah, I thought was
not
that
sickos.
was
It's
funny.
just using filling a void for an entrepreneurial pursuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sickos, fetish people.
There you go.
Where I was going to go is what's kind of cool in the technology of society is they have better seats for women.
Now,
This is true. Now
they
I think
do,
they were
yeah.
like boy seats.
Yes.
The ladies were
Probably.
running on. Yeah.
yeah,
Not the most comfortable.
Skinny no.
no.
No, skinny little seats for our fat bottoms.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It's okay. You're going to have a bike and you're going to fit your bottom on this 2 inches.
Yep.
No, I'm not.
Great song, though. Great song.
Yes, it is a wonderful song.
Empowering.
I
I
love
think
Very.
it's good. I don't think it's what this stupid critic is saying, but I don't ever agree with critics. So
this song. No, same.
Yeah, but that's also like, well, that's a whole other thing. Like that comes with the censor board and stuff like
Yeah.
this. Like they just something they don't like in whatever their head, and all of a sudden, no, this is bad. You can't have that. Which on the same token, rock and roll is all about rebellion. So the moment you go, we can't have that, people go, here's
We
my
want
money.
it. Exactly.
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Well, funny enough, retrospectively, of course, it's now rated as one of the more fun albums than any of their other ones.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things is you go through is a lot of their songs, like obviously they got the melodies and stuff like this, but a lot of the songs at the end of the day were just fun.
They were.
It was just,
Or are, I should say, not were, are.
yeah, like they would just they came out and we're just gonna sing about this. Like there's no
They did
political
what- they did
ties
what
or
they
anything.
wanted.
It's
Yeah.
just here you go. This is what we're singing about. This makes us laugh. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
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 So, yeah.
So that's Fat Bottom Girls.
Right? So their next album, The Game, released in June of 1980, was their first album to use a synthesizer, which apparently Brian May did not agree with.
Ooh.
He had sworn never to use a synthesizer.
Yeah.
Really?
I could understand that.
Yeah.
Like,
But for whatever reason, they wanted this particular sound on this album.
it was the sound of the time. The thing
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
synth music was
It
big.
almost seems
starting
like
to
they
be.
were just going with the.
The flow.
They were
The flow.
evolving
Yeah.
like they had done the whole time. Yeah.
Well, look at Kiss. They did a dance disco song, right? And it happened
Yeah.
to be their biggest song, right? So this kind of in the same line for this album.
So the singles off that album, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, was their first one,
That's cool.
followed by Save Me and Play the Game. Need Your Loving Tonight was released. Oh, no, sorry. Another One Bites the Dust was the next one, which actually wasn't actually guaranteed to be a single. It was the influence of Michael Jackson, funnily enough,
Yes.
that said to them that should be a single. So they released it. And had he not said that, who knows if we would even know Another One Bites the Dust.
And it's one of the most popular songs, one of the more popular songs. By
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's got that hook to it. That's
the bass line. Yeah.
yeah. Like the thing is you hear those notes and it just I know this song and it just it grabs you.
Yeah. It doesn't take long to know. Like it comes on the radio, you hear the first couple of notes and you know what it is. Yeah. Well, they've had a few of those, like with the opening bass. And, yeah.
Didn't they use that for a Kit Kat or a Coffee Crisp commercial? Another One Bites the Dust.
Probably.
I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I'm here all day. I'm just full of useless
You're full
information.
of the fun facts too. So.
I can't find it now, but I'm sure I wrote down like that was one of the first songs that was it Roger or John? Now I can't remember and I can't find it in my notes. But anyway, one of them wrote, I think it was John actually, wrote with the intention of, again, another one of those songs like We Will Rock You to get the audience involved.
I can see
And-
that, and it would make
Yeah.
sense coming from him because of the huge bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would make sense coming from him. That's cool because that's a great homage to him because obviously he's quit the industry
Yeah,
or
he's
whatever.
retired now. So
But
yeah.
I like it's one of my favorites. Like not my ultimate favorite, but it is one of my favorites.
Well,
Yeah.
that was probably their most successful album up to that point. It went 2 times platinum in Argentina, 4 times platinum in the US, and 6 times platinum in Canada.
I'm wondering if they sell like Leopard more albums per capita in Canada.
In Canada.
Yeah.
Because that was the only one I came across that went that many times platinum.
Interesting.
That's actually funny because like how do they gauge it nowadays? Because like obviously people are to streaming services. Not many people are buying albums.
They do it all streaming services.
Sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sales and downloads, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was kind of looking at that too when I was looking at the different albums, and the numbers always seemed different, and I thought it was like per million copies or something like that was the standard, but it seemed different every time.
Well, I think they've got like a bunch of different ways to do it now. They got streaming and
Yeah.
selling the records.
Yeah, I think you're on the right
everything's changed.
avenue from the way the gold, diamond, and stuff like this. But I think it's like per 100,000
Yeah.
or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
So like, you know, gold's probably 100,000, platinum's probably $1 million.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
had to change the way
I think
they're
it is,
measuring it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I don't know the actual number, so if someone's yelling at me, sorry, I don't actually know.
Somebody out there
I
knows
think
and
you're
is yelling
close. I
back
think
at the
you're
team.
right.
Yeah.
If someone out there is yelling at me, Scott, stop it.
Yeah.
Let me
Right?
do some research on that right now.
Yeah.
I
Their
can,
next,
I can
oh,
hardly
sorry.
wait for Scott to listen to this one.
Their next album was actually their first soundtrack, but was still considered a studio album, and it was for Flash Gordon.
Flash.
Yeah, apparently it was the theme song that they had on there.
They
Was
played.
their biggest single off that.
Yeah, I was gonna say they played music all through the movie or whatever.
did, yeah.
I remember the movie. I'm really old.
Yeah, so that was in 1980.
Right there. 100 streams amount to 1 digital download.
What?
Well, there you go.
Say again?
100 streams amount to 1 digital download. So, like, the award for platinum, given by the recording industry, represent huge sales: 500,000 units for gold, 1 million for platinum, 2 million or more for multi-platinum, and 10 million for diamond. Singles have the same criteria with sales and streaming. So, 100 streams amount to 1 digital download. So, singles have to be streamed 100 streams to equal 1 digital download of a song.
Yeah, so they get platinum, which would be 1 million. They would need 100 million streams,
Yeah.
to get the
To get the
platinum status.
platinum. Woof.
Yeah.
Just
and
buy the
lots.
albums.
so
If you like
for
an artist,
sales-
just loop it.
Yeah, right?
So for album sales, for gold certification, you need to sell 500,000 minimum. Platinum is 1 million.
Yeah,
Multi-platinum is 2 million in increments of 1 million after that.
right.
And then diamond is 10 million.
Hey,
Yeah.
to my defense, I did say diamond was,
Yeah.
platinum was a million.
It was
Yeah.
a million, yeah. I was pretty sure that's what it was too, but I don't know if maybe I was just not reading the things properly because it was, quite frankly, it was getting late. And my eyes were getting tired. So that could have been too.
It's funny as we forget how many people are in the actual world and stuff like, but you just talk, those numbers just seem so huge. But when, you know, the world population is over 8 billion, all of a sudden those
Yeah,
numbers.
6 million doesn't seem that significant. No, I guess not. But in the population of Canada,
Yes,
Yes.
that's a lot. Per capita. Yeah, if you look at that. Yeah.
that is a lot.
Well, I was going to say back then, that's because we were stupid and, you know, get a scratch in the record and you have to buy another one. So all of a sudden you have 3 copies of the same album.
That's true.
Yeah, that skews things.
just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So their next album, Hot Space, wasn't released until 1982. So that was probably the first market gap, I guess you could say, between albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But it was also noted as, or also marked a notable shift in their style again, as this album incorporated or elements of disco, funk, R&B, excuse me. I can't talk anymore.
You're done. We've done a lot today.
Dance, pop, and new wave. So I didn't mention this before, but there was some backlash against disco going on in the late 70s, beginning of the 80s. So this album was actually less popular with fans who preferred the rock style they had come to know from the band.
Makes sense.
So they basically hit everything
Pretty much.
around that time, right?
Yeah.
So whatever was big at that time. So new wave was big in the early 80s in England. And you had the pop and the dance. And yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, because this was the album that had Under Pressure, which was the collaboration with David Bowie.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
I got that song in my head.
Body language.
But it also, that's probably
Not one of my favorites, actually.
No, not one of mine either.
I like that one.
I do like it.
The David Bowie, because I think that also would have been around the backlash where people said like, oh, it's not cool to like David Bowie back then too.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, but
No, it's a great song.
Yeah, and apparently this album is widely considered by critics to be Queen's most artistically disappointing album due to the dance pop style and heavy use of the synthesizers.
Back to the synthesizers and them not wanting to use them.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oops. I know. I think it's still a good album. But again, you know, when you love a band, you love all their music, right?
For the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's those ones where you're like, man,
There are some that,
You don't mind
that's
it,
true
like you
enough.
listen to it, but
Yeah.
it's not probably
But
one of
it's
your
not.
favorite.
That's
Yeah.
like the next time you go to a Queen concert, you got to yell, Brian, use a synthesizer.
Right. You know you want
you know what? You need more
to.
synth.
Yeah.
More cowbell. Okay.
Right?
Always more cowbell. Always.
Okay, so The Works was the next album, released in February of 84. So this marked a return to Brian and Roger's rock sound while incorporating the early 80s retro-futuristic electronic sound at Freddie's behest, apparently, as well as New York funk, which was John's topic of interest at the time. They recorded in both LA and Munich, and the title came from a comment Roger Taylor made during recording of Let's Give Them the Works.
So this is the all dressed Chips version of an album.
Of an album, yeah. I like that. And of course, it bred the singles Radio Gaga, I Want to Break Free, and It's a Hard Life, and Hammer to Fall.
So I remember seeing the video for Radio Gaga. I didn't like it. Didn't like the video. I know it was like that 1984 reference type thing, right? The futuristic, and I was like, what kind
of crap is
what
this?
what song is this? And I'm like, this was before I got into Queen.
But some people don't like Radio Gaga.
no,
They don't.
but
And
I
those
don't
people would be
understand
wrong.
those people.
I know, like over the time now, like I've learned it. Like it's a great song. Right?
It's another one with a hook. It just catches you.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I was just like, what is this? Like, who writes radio? Like, really? Like, it just
Did
didn't
you
make
run
sense
out
to
of
me.
words? What's going on?
Well, yeah. And then after watching them,
I think the
After
video
his-
is more like Metropolis, I think is what you're
yeah, Metropolis, sorry. And then having the greatest hits and stuff, and you get to listen to it and appreciate it more and throw the video out. Yeah, that's, and then you watch it on on their other performance and stuff, and it gives you that new appreciation for it. So
Their video for I Want to Break Free.
Oh,
that,
yes.
that was very tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I love that. And I'm scared how good of a woman Roger Taylor made.
He was very pretty, wasn't he? With his little pigtails and lipstick. Yeah. Very pretty.
Well, it was apparently because of that video and the negative reaction in the U.S. that they actually didn't even tour in the U.S. for that album.
They're like, screw you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not coming because you're being dumbasses.
it's all
You're a
tongue in
bunch
cheek.
of
It was all tongue in
I was
cheek.
gonna say,
right?
you're a
Everything
bunch of
was.
conservative
was.
assholes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just, they couldn't,
They just
had
didn't.
no
They didn't
growth.
get it. They had no sense of humor.
No.
It was like a British sitcom watching the video.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Hammer to Fall was one of their better ones off of that one.
Good guitar riff in that.
Oh, yeah. Stellar. Stellar. It was good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I lied when I said that the concert in Sao Paulo was part of the Rock the Rio. Sorry, that wasn't until 85. So anybody who was yelling at me in the last episode
I'm fixing it now.
about the date being wrong, I apologize. I fixed it. I'm sorry. I hadn't read that far ahead of my notes. But yeah, apparently with that tour, they did go to South Africa and played the Sun City Super Bowl, which apparently was their heavyweight boxing championship in October of 84. And their producers had actually urged them not to go because of the whole apartheid movement going on there at the time. Yeah. And they decided to go anyway because they were a quote, very non-political group and would play for anyone who wants to come and listen. They actually ended up donating to a school for the deaf to assert their philanthropic values. And actually in 2021, Roger Tayller expressed regret at performing there, saying we went with the best intentions, but it was probably a bad idea.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Well, at the time, right? It was probably
Yeah.
But
It's probably like, screw you, we do what we want,
Yeah.
and we're going to go play.
well, it's
Yeah.
also is like, the fans want us there or whatever. Like we want to do this for the fans kind of idea. and yeah, like, you know, you're selling a product, but you want like the lifeblood to any band is the fans. So you want to go and perform wherever you can, where they want you there.
Well, yeah, wherever they want to see you. Yeah, you go. Well, try to anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make every fan happy and
Yeah. And especially during that hard time, right? It was probably a bit of a release for some of those fans to have something enjoyable to go see. But I can see his point too, that it was probably a bad idea to actually do it.
Yep.
But we make mistakes. And
Oh
we
yeah.
carry on.
Like you just, unfortunately, like I said, you never know what you think about it later. Or,
Yeah. You're
Shoulda, woulda,
playing
coulda.
them.
Like that's
Yeah. Exactly.
that's always the way it kind of comes down to.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, they were huge at the time anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know, with being one of the biggest bands in the world, you want to go, you know, you want your fans to see you, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where it is. Mm-hmm. You know, and people play spots that they'll never play there again. You know, but
Well, speaking of, like, kind of backtracking a little bit, but, you know, huge audiences and stuff like that in places you probably never go again. In 1976, they did their Summer Gigs concert, and they only played 4 shows in the UK, one of them being at Hyde Park in London, and it was a free concert that attracted approximately 180,000 people. 180,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people,
and Hyde Park isn't. It's big, but it's not very big.
right? Not with 180,000 people in it.
No.
That's crazy.
When I saw it, I was like, wow, okay, that's yeah.
They ain't just locals.
No, that's you know, and at that time period too.
I'm sorry, I'm just
For
thinking of
a
something
band
like
that's
Woodstock
big-
and just the smell.
Well, for a band that basically hadn't been around for very long at that time, to have 180,000 people come and see you in concert.
But
You
in
know,
that
they were-
amount of time, they had a lot of albums.
They
and
were
had a
destined
lot
for
of-
something,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, they were destined for greatness, and with Freddie's showmanship,
You wanted to see
you wanted to see it, right?
be a part of it.
Well, yeah, because the rest, you know, you look at John Deacon on stage, he just stood there.
True.
Brian
Yeah.
May, he
Moves a little bit.
moved
He
a little
moved
bit,
some,
and then you
yeah.
got Rogers, obviously, is not, and then you got Freddie, who
Bounced
was the
all over
showman.
the place.
Was the showman, right? And-
Undiagnosed ADHD.
but that,
Something.
Yeah.
but that was the difference. That's what made it,
Yeah.
and
I
the way
think
he
so, yeah.
communicated, and yeah, it's all about stage presence, and it's all about showmanship, and he had it.
Well, yeah, you get into when they did Live Aid
Yes.
in 1985. And as I was watching those documentaries I mentioned before, like whoever, I think it was 16 bands backstage at the time or something like that. And they were all like watching them perform. We're all like, oh my God, like they totally stole the show. Like they were
Yeah.
the highlight of the whole event.
It's like, oh
Because of
crap,
his-
I gotta go on after that.
Exactly. Because of Freddie and what he was able to do. And like you mentioned the AOs before, like he just had the ability to grab an audience and have them literally in the palm of his hand right from the moment he stepped out on stage. Yeah. Right? Because
Well, yeah, it's you have that engagement with the audience.
Yes.
And that all of a sudden, like, you know, all people go to the shows to enjoy the show, but all of a sudden he wants us to engage. We're part of the show now. Like,
Yeah.
is kind of the mentality that comes across.
Yeah.
And he was an excellent front man for literally putting the fans in the show.
Yeah.
And, you know, I bet you everybody who went to that concert remembered that concert because of just, oh, it was amazing. And he had us singing, and, you know, like it just, that's what is a good live show.
yeah.
Yeah, and the songs that they chose to for Live Aid, I think that was the perfect set for that. Like you started off with Bohemian Rhapsody, and
Yeah.
then you know Radio Gaga, and then Hammer to Fall, and
Well,
you
I was
know,
just going to say,
Crazy
like,
Little Thing
speaking of
Called Love.
Radio Gaga and, you know, Live Aid, like 72,000 people clapping their hands in
Yeah.
unison, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Just by one person standing on stage, calling out to them and
Yeah.
then calling back to him.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
See, people can do what they're told in the right circumstances.
You just have to get on a stage and scream loud enough.
Right.
Everyone will follow you. Sounds like somebody else I know. But yeah, I'm not going to say.
We did the Live Aid one already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but it was, I have the DVDs that they released. I don't know how many years ago. I haven't watched it, but I wanted to watch it before we did this, but I didn't have time. But I have vague memories of it, but I need to go back and watch it with, more
New eyes?
appreciation. With
More informed eyes.
More informed eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, like I mentioned before too, like when I was doing research for this, I watched some documentaries that were on Prime or whatever. I watched a couple other things, and then I watched Bohemian Rhapsody near the end of the night. And it's funny, after doing all this research and I'm watching the movie, when I originally watched it, when it was released, of course I knew some of the history, but I didn't know how, like, all of the history.
Yeah.
But after this, I sat there watching the movie going, oh yeah, that is quite not accurate, or this is not quite accurate. And it kind of gave me a different perspective on how his story was told.
It's true. But I know it's a story, and they want to make it like, they want to sell that story.
Oh,
right?
of course.
So,
Yeah.
Well, one thing about the Live Aid performance, which was funny, is like they were kind of a last minute addition to the roster on it.
Yeah.
And so
he wanted to do it, and they didn't want to do it, or something. There was a fight, wasn't there?
No, it was they
Who was
were
it?
told.
they were told late.
They were told Freddie's partner at the manager, whatever, the one guy that always hung out with him.
Mm-hmm. Eric?
And
Is it Eric?
one of the guys that lived with him or whatever. And he kept saying, he's like, I swear I told you, but he never did. Mm. So I think he was trying to keep the band like separated. Mm-hmm. And then when he finally found out, that's when like Freddie's like, let's do this. And then they talked, and he went to the manager and said, call the band. Band comes in. They try to make up because of whatever issues they were going through at the time.
Well, apparently
was that all fabricated? We don't.
That's just it.
Yeah.
Like what I read is that the band never actually had that break that was portrayed in the film either.
Yeah.
Okay.
That they never, they kind of did their like own projects kind of in between, but they never actually broke up, so to speak.
Yeah, but I think the band was never told, and then they had to know like now.
Yeah, they didn't
That
have,
was the
they
thing.
didn't have a lot of time to prepare for it. Yeah.
And as such, they actually...
Not a lot of the artists knew right away anyway. They only had a couple months to prepare anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a couple months is
Better
more than what
for a
Queen
week.
had.
The Queen had a week or whatever it was. So.
Yeah, but they came in, and because of the last minute, like they didn't get like an ideal time slot. Like they were a band that probably deserved a better time slot, but because of where they were, they kind of slotted in here. Well, that's as a filler and stuff like this. But it's funny that they stole the show in a less than prime spot,
Like an afternoon spot. Like,
Yeah.
and it was I don't know if you had that on there, but that was like one of the most watched part of that whole show or whatever.
What? Yeah, I was reading some people are saying like it's the best concert performance in history of all time. Or something like that.
Can't say I disagree with that.
No, like to have, I think, because of the response from the crowd, and then all of a sudden the phones couldn't stop ringing for donations.
I remember that.
So I think between the combination of the two, and the performance was amazing. Like that's what I mean. Like the set list was perfect. Like 20 minutes, and whatever it was 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it was lights out.
I was going to say one thing I do, because obviously I've seen the movie as well. What I did like about the movie to the real performance is they got the beers and the Pepsis and all that on the piano.
It was
exactly the same
exactly
length.
the
Like
same.
they didn't. Yeah, it was exactly the same length.
That's what I love too. Yeah,
Like-
that was probably the only part of the movie that was actually
Accurate.
the
props. And the award goes to...
Well,
prop
and
design.
they said Rami Malek like watched Live Aid over and over again so that he could get Freddie's moves like exactly. Like he played them side by side, and it's practically identical.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
He did a really great job.
He did. I'm pretty sure too. Some of the studio parts, I'm pretty sure were probably similar.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
But
From what I read, it sounded pretty accurate.
Yeah. I know the meeting with Mike Myers' character was that
Oh my gosh,
actually,
yeah.
that wasn't actually
No.
didn't
That
actually
it
happen.
didn't actually happen that way.
No.
They did have a meeting, but
It was funny
wasn't
because
like
of the
that.
song they were discussing was the song in Wayne's World, and
Yeah.
I think it's
that's
just
why I got a kick out of it too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, isn't that funny?
because
I think I had
again they're
his
trying to
quotes.
sell the movie, right? So they're
They
going to
were.
put crap in there that's not real.
and I know Brian May
Yeah.
said it's close enough.
It's close
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because it would have been a 4-hour movie.
I was going
Oh
to
my
say, yeah, it was
gosh.
just too much to cover.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So they skipped a lot of stuff and yeah. But yeah, anyway.
We trudge
Back to-
forward.
We trudge forward. So yeah, so after Live Aid, they went back to work and released A Kind of Magic,
one of the best. Yes.
which was actually based off the soundtrack to Highlander.
Yes, it is. Have we watched it, you guys? Have
Not
you
for a
watched it?
long, long time.
Not for
I
a long
haven't.
time.
But you've seen it?
Yes, we have
Yes.
seen it. I have
Okay.
seen it.
Yes.
They are trying to reboot it. with
I know.
Henry.
I'm not sure how
I think
feel
I think
about
he'll
that.
do a good job with it, but
It's still not gonna be.
I
the
know.
same.
I wish they'd stop doing that. Jesus.
Yeah, leave our shit alone. Right. Make your own stuff.
But yeah, they had a ton of singles off of that one. One Vision, Princes of the Universe, which was the theme song for Highlander.
So good.
A Kind of Magic, obviously.
Yep.
Friends Will Be Friends, Pain is So Close to Pleasure, Who Wants to Live Forever,
Oh, that
which
one
makes me cry.
Yes.
Yeah, every time. And One Year of Love.
So my question: do you think? Well, we know that he had already found out about
Right.
his diagnosis. Now,
Not at that point.
he didn't yet, did he?
Not until 87.
Right. So I'm wondering though, some of those songs like "Who Wants to Live Forever," it was
well, it tied into the
To the
movie.
movie, I
It tied
know.
into the movie. It's just I think it's just
so-
pure irony.
I didn't realize the
Yeah.
year that he found out. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I always thought that it was sooner than that too.
Yeah.
Because what I had read too is like he started showing symptoms around 85,
Yeah.
but wasn't officially diagnosed until 87. And apparently it had, I don't know if it's still true, but had like a 10-year incubation period between when you were infected and when you started showing symptoms. So he already had an inkling that something was wrong.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
wondering
know.
he
if
did.
I know it was related to the movie, but I'm wondering
Yeah.
if some of the songs that he's written, like "Who Wants to Live Forever," like really,
Right?
Well, I think it ultimately ties into the movie quite well because what
It
the
does.
movie is about. But yes, pulling from personal experience for himself and the emotion in which he sings that song.
Yes.
So yes, he was probably aware of something.
he had something. He had an inkling.
Because the thing is also the community in which he lived. He would have seen the devastation happening at that time in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the album went straight to number 1 in the UK, sold 100,000 copies in the first week, and remained on the UK charts for 63 weeks, selling 600,000 in the UK alone.
63 weeks.
63 weeks for more than a year.
Yeah, think about that.
Yep.
63 weeks.
Yep. But that was also the last album the band was able to tour for due to Freddie's AIDS diagnosis the following year.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
This whole room just went.
It did. Well,
It
it's
sucked
kinda-
the life
it
it's
does
sombering, right?
suck.
It's
Yeah.
like
It sucks.
some of the best stuff he written came out of those, like
Those
after-
last few years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he couldn't perform any of it live, and
No.
like he performed those songs, but nothing else after that.
Nothing else
And
after that. Yeah.
Some of those songs are just, yeah, amazing. So not having that opportunity is like every performer, artist, they
It's
want
like
to
their
perform
worst
them live.
nightmare, right?
Yeah, and he just couldn't do it.
I
Devastating.
mean, that stands to reason the question of if there was the kind of medication that there is now for the people that are suffering with this disease, then would they have continued, like, would their legacy be the same? Because he would have been around a lot longer. There would have been more songs. It would have been different. You know,
That's always a hard one to say. I think the benefit of this is prior to this point, they had a long career. Like they
They
had
had already had,
they
15 years,
yeah, they had the substantial
16 years, yeah.
substantial success with it. had the drugs and that been available, had he prolonged, I think they would have produced a little bit more.
Yeah.
Would the quality have been there?
Would they have been as
Depends
well?
on how he was, really.
You know, going on that thread, I think it still would have from everything that I read is he put everything into
Yeah.
everything
Oh,
he could
I-
up until he couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So
even
I just-
the last video that he did, like,
Yeah.
and you clearly could see
Yeah.
that he was failing, but he was there. He sang with every
fiber in his being.
every fiber in his
Yeah.
being. It's actually, as you know, it's not a band that I am high with, but Tragically Hip, same thing. Gord Downey,
Yeah.
till his dying breath, put
Absolutely.
everything he
Everything he had.
had into performing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I still love all the sadness in this room. It's just like,
Just don't mean to like bring everybody down. It's
we've
just
gotten-
approaching that point in their career.
we've got
Yeah.
to this point, and it's just, we're all so
Yeah, we
sad.
made it to this point, right?
We made it to this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we want to continue on, or
We
do
should
we want
probably
to?
cut it there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so because
And then we'll get into the last
of
bit
it.
and what they've done since, and
yeah
yeah,
and how things
we'll
have
go
changed.
from there. Yeah.
We'll end on a somber note.
I don't like this.
On a good note.
Okay, you got a good note.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though what happened was sad, what they were able to get out of it and
Continue
Continue to
continuation,
get out of it.
Yeah,
they were able to carry on his legacy.
that's
Yes.
true.
With, I know it's with Adam Lambert, it's with, you know,
Yeah.
like, I think with everything that's happened since, it just helped in the healing process and they were able to prepare for it anyway.
Yeah,
But it was still hard on them. But the music lives on. It will always live on.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the benefit of touring still, and obviously it's a a different singer coming in, but you were ultimately this is a conversation about the band, and the band put out great bodies of work. Obviously, a lot of it with the involvement of Freddie, but you're able to move all of that forward. And continue to bring it to generation after generation after
Exactly.
generation.
and what an amazing album to be the last one they toured on with him.
Oh, you couldn't get any better.
Yeah.
Like,
That-
in honesty, right? It
Yeah.
was just, it was almost like it was meant to be.
Yeah,
That was their
they're shining
Send
stars.
off.
Their swan
Swan
song.
song.
in a little,
Yeah.
in a way. And
Yeah.
then they released a couple more albums. But, that was kind of that, this is who we are.
Yeah,
This is what we're like.
yeah,
Enjoy.
yeah.
That's it.
And with that, we will catch you on the B-side.
Thank you for joining us on the Music Roundtable. Please like and comment where you listen to the podcast. And make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter and let us know what you'd like us to talk about. Until next time.